Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Gathering Strat. I'm Binkabi and this will be a deck tech with a Mardu deck that I ended up playing in a local tournament to an astonishing 4-0 performance. I think you all know, or at least I hope so, that I plan to play a Grixis Teachings deck instead, but here's a tip for you. When you get that odd feeling that basically tells you that this is not what you're supposed to do, go with that feeling. I liked the deck and I liked all the cards in it, but it just didn't do it for me. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to, and I got this bad feeling that I'm not gonna win. And if you have that feeling, then you're not going to win. So I actually asked my wife, what should I play? And she said, make a non-blue deck. And I've honestly, yeah, it's pretty hard for me to do a non-blue deck. So that was quite a challenge. So this is what I ended up with: a Mardu deck. I wanted to play like Lingering Souls, Young Pyromancer, top it off with a few Planeswalkers and stuff. Because there's two ways you can go up to Planeswalkers. Either you counter your way up, or rather control everything, or you play stuff that keeps their opponent busy and then you land a Planeswalker. So that's the main idea of the deck. You go wide with Young Pyromancers, Lingering Souls, and then top it off with a Planeswalker. That just makes it so much harder for them to win. Also, tokens are pretty good at blocking, so that's nice. The version I ended up playing in the tournament actually had a Tasigur instead of a Gurmag Angler because I couldn't find one. And Tasigur is nice, but this deck cannot activate him. That's a big problem, actually. So that's why Gurmag is in. So I tried to do a deck that basically is the opposite of what I typically do. This is the deck I always dread when I'm playing my blue control decks, with like hand disruption, stupid card draw that never punishes them, like Phyrexian Arena or something, and just a bunch of angles to attack from, like this angler, this angle, this angle, and it's just so hard to keep it up. So besides the obvious lightning bolts, hand disruption, young pyromancers, we have a single path, and I just think terminate is, it's just better all around. But sometimes you need a white card or something, or just something that handles indestructible or whatever. Then we have some card draw. I only found one Night's Whisper in real life, so that's why I have one Whisper and two Signing Bloods. I do think it should be 3 Night's Whispers, but the thing is that I can't run and buy cards every time I need them, so that's kind of the charm of Magic, I think. So it's good with some versatility as well. One Stellar's Persecution, a really strong card, but not in multiples. Good with the tokens, good against tokens. I have one Mardu Charm, and that's also for the flexibility. It kills Deceiver Exarchs, it snags Amulet pieces, it could at least, and it can also be a light threat if you really need to. One Crackling Doom, I mean, Edicts are good. This is like the strongest one you can find most of the time. Arena is really strong. One Liliana, not too synergistic with the deck, that's why I only have one. It's good with Lingering Souls, but that's about it. Excuse me. One Dismember. Some Planeswalkers. I like Elspeth more than Ajani in this deck, so that's why it's a 2-1 split. And all of those cards were Monster Swift Spears at first, because every single card in the deck besides themselves and Young Pyromancer triggered them, so they were pretty good, and they speeded up the pace of the deck a lot. But the problem was that the deck doesn't have the support for them that you really want. It's nice to get down an early threat, but most of the time I just found that they survived at like 7 or 5 life, just above lightning bolt range, and then they handled my young pyromancer and I ended up with nothing, or they trumped it in some way. And that's why I ended up bringing in more expensive cards instead of the cheaper ones. It slowed the deck down a bit, but these cards are so much more impactful. Gideon Yura, one of my favorite planeswalkers, super strong, removal, trumps Splinter Twin, trumps Infect, trumps Boggles to some extent. I mean, it's just good. Barraskull still a very solid card. Assembly Legion, some decks can't beat that ever. Some decks won't have a problem with it, but that's it. And one Lonely Gurmag as that big creature that can come down at the same time as something else. The mana base is nothing spectacular. We have one Lavaclaw reaches, a Ghost Quarter, one Urborg, one Vault, and the rest is more or less just mana. Vault is pretty good in a token strategy. Ghost Quarter I think is necessary, and Reaches is pretty good. You often find yourself with like 6 or 7 mana and then it hits for a good amount of damage. Notable cards that is not in the deck is Kolaghan's Command, but I think it does too little in this deck, and it's right here in the middle where I want to do other stuff. And to be fair, I don't have that many creatures to return, so if it doesn't have a good target, it's just gonna be discard a card 2 damage, and that's not really what I'm looking for. Could be in the sideboard, I guess. The sideboard is tuned somewhat against graveyards, because my deck is slow and value graveyard strategies are often gonna trump me, so I have a couple of those. Other slow decks like Tron will crush me, so I have to have a couple of Sowing Salts. I also have Stony Silence, which can double up against them. They're also for affinity, obviously. Rending Volleys against Splinter Twin. It's not a horrible matchup, but Rending Volleys just adds that extra layer of protection. One Devour Flesh just for Boggles and stuff. We have Liliana and Crackling Doom, and some tokens and Zealous Persecution, so we have a decent amount of stuff already. Olivia against creatures mainly. Since I don't have that many creatures, what usually happens is that they take out like Terminates and stuff, and then they save Abrupt Decays or stuff like that that will not kill Olivia. 3 timely reinforcements. The burn matchup is not super good. Thoughtseize hurts me. Night's Whisper, Signing Blood, Bitter Blossom hurts me. Arena hurts me. Dismember hurts me. So I'm taking a lot of damage, and that's why I need timely reinforcements. Overall, I think the deck is pretty solid. I actually enjoyed playing it a lot, and I ended up beating 2 Infect decks, a green Stompy deck, and a blue-white control deck, so it was kind of a wider range of decks. So I'm curious to see if the tuned version of this deck can succeed in some Magic Online matches. So let's just give it a spin and see how it goes.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, it really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter at MagicGathStrat, Facebook /MagicGatheringStrat, or on the web, magicgatheringstrat.com. There you can find articles and free prize-supported leagues. This is all brought to you by our Patreons and cardhoarder.com. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/MagicGatheringStrat.